This is Electric Universe Earth News. Today we're going to discuss garnets. They're very pretty. There's pictures of them here. I'll have a link to this Google Images page. You can look up and down them for yourself. They start off normally as sediment. They're often found in sedimentary rocks, but they're metamorphosed, and they're highly metamorphosed. And there's some of them that contain a particular mineral, quite often in the Himalayas, but in other places too, that start off as sediment, and then they have to go down 120 miles to find enough pressure to squeeze them into a garnet, into this particular mineral, and then they come back up to be found at the surface, miraculously. A 240 mile 240 mile round trip. And let's say it's less than 120 miles, it's 100, it's a 200-mile round trip. That's being generous. So let's look at the article that talks about this incredible magic elevator. This is a picture from the Himalayas. This is where they find the garnets. It's on the rocks at the surface, but it's the dark rocks, the rocks that look burnt, as if a blowtorch came along and scorched them. That's where they find the garnets. And it has this mineral, margarite, Majorite. And that's the one that requires 120 miles of depth. But it's worse than that. It gets much more complicated. This is a different article on garnets. It doesn't have the photograph the first one did, and this is from Stanford. This not only has the garnet starting at the surface and going down 120 miles, but it has to go down fast, because if it went down slowly, the temperature would be too high and the garnet would melt, or it just wouldn't be correct. So you have to have really rapid subduction so that the area being subducted doesn't have time to heat up as quickly as it might otherwise. And then you have to have really rapid rise back to the surface of the earth. And then you find these garnets on charred looking surfaces of rocks at the surface after they've gone on a 240 mile round trip. Are there any geologists out there who would like to defend this? We can have a little debate here. Are there any geologists who want to defend the standard theory of geology? Again, I'm a functional idiot. They should be easy to just crush me. But I don't think you have the goods. I think that you have a model that's flawed, and when you look at it with a jaundiced eye, it crumbles and falls apart. So I'm punking you out. Does anybody have the guts to debate garnets, the metamorphic process, dolomite, all of these problems in geology that geologists are aware of? The metamorphic process. This is a sign on the door of a PhD geology professor in Utah. He's actually moved on since then. But he had this on his front door. Geologists who specialize in the study of primeval metamorphic rocks are to be commended for their valor, admired for the difficulty of their task, and perhaps consoled for their lunacy. I believe that Frank is a metamorphic geologist. I'm not positive. I never really met Frank. But this is something geologists are aware of. They know that they have problems concerning dolomite. Go to Google and search dolomite problem. See how many articles pop up. It's the same with garnets. You have to have this magic elevator that goes down real fast and comes back up fast. Give me a break. Thank you. I'd also like to briefly mention the pinch, the Bennett pinch or the Z pinch. Again, I had the same geologist who had that sign on the door challenged me concerning electricity and plasma, saying the aurora could add heat but not pressure, and pressure was required to explain rocks and geology. So again, I called my friend Mel Atchison and asked him about the pressure, and he told me that the Z pinch or Bennett pinch can provide more pressure than gravity could ever hope to. And I asked him recently, what's the basis of this? And he said that there are formulas, and it tells you that X amount of current going through a Bennett pinch will produce X amount of pressure. And it's unlimited. The more current you supply, the more pressure is applied. So that in an electric universe where there's literally unlimited electricity available, during encounters of differently charged objects, you'd have the ability to have an amazing amount of pressure. I'll have links for the Pinch article, with a Pinch article that talks about this with the formulas. I'll have links for the garnets and everything else at the bottom of the page. I hope everybody's looking at these links. Otherwise, this work doesn't make a lot of sense. Thanks again.